It was supposed to be a normal afternoon. The kind of quiet, ordinary day that people like me learn to appreciate. I had just come back from the grocery store carrying 2 small bags. Nothing fancy, just milk, bread, and the tea I drink every evening at exactly 6 p.m., routine. At 68, routine becomes your comfort. As I walked up the driveway, I noticed something strange. The front door was locked. Now, that might not sound unusual, but I never locked that door during the day. Never. I frowned slightly, adjusting the grocery bags in my hands. Maybe Emily forgot, I whispered to myself. My daughter had been staying with me for the past 6 months. Just until I get back on my feet, Mom, she had said. And of course, I had said yes, because that's what mothers do. We open doors. We don't close them. I reached into my purse and pulled out my keys, but when I tried to unlock the door, they didn't fit. At first, I thought I was just tired. Maybe I was using the wrong key. So I tried again, and again, and again. Nothing. A strange, cold feeling crept into my chest. I leaned closer, squinting at the lock. It looked different, new. My hands started to tremble. No, I whispered. That's when I heard footsteps inside, soft, careful, like someone was trying not to be noticed. Emily, I called out, forcing a smile into my voice. It's me. Open the door, sweetheart. Silence. Then, a shadow moved behind the curtain, and slowly, the door opened, but not all the way, just a few inches. Emily stood there, my daughter, my only child, but something about her felt off. She didn't smile. She didn't hug me. She didn't even open the door fully. Instead, she just looked at me, cold, distant, like I was a stranger. Mom, she said flatly, you can't come in. For a moment, I thought I had misheard her. What? I laughed nervously. Emily, stop joking. My hands are full. She didn't move, didn't smile, didn't blink. I'm not joking, she said. You need to leave. The grocery bags slipped slightly from my hands. Leave? I repeated. This is my house. And then she said something that made my heart stop. No, she replied quietly. It's not. The world around me went silent. What are you talking about? I whispered. Emily opened the door just a little more, not to let me in, but to step outside. And then she closed the door behind her, locked, from the inside. You signed it, Mom, she said, crossing her arms. The house. It's in my name now. My breath caught in my throat. I would never... I started, but she cut me off. You did, she said sharply. You just didn't read what you were signing. And suddenly, it all came rushing back. 3 months ago, Emily had come to me with papers. So many papers. She said it was for refinancing, tax adjustments, some legal updates. I remember feeling confused, but she smiled, held my hand, and said, Trust me, Mom. And I did, because she was my daughter. And now, I was standing outside my own house, with 2 grocery bags, and nowhere to go. Emily? My voice broke. Why are you doing this? She looked away, for just a second, and in that moment, I saw it. Guilt. But it disappeared quickly. I need this house, she said. You don't. Those words cut deeper than anything I had ever felt. I raised you here, I whispered. Your father built this house with his own hands. She shrugged. That was a long time ago. And just like that, everything I thought I knew about love, family, and sacrifice started to fall apart. I stood there for a long time. Too long, until finally, Emily turned around, unlocked the door, and went back inside. Without me. The door shut, and this time, it didn't open again. I was alone. But what my daughter didn't know, what she completely forgot, was one small thing, something that would change everything. I stood there, on the front porch, holding 2 small grocery bags that suddenly felt heavier than my entire life. The door was closed, locked, silent. Inside that house was everything I had built, my memories, my sacrifices, my love, and outside, just me. For a moment, I didn't move. I couldn't. My mind kept repeating the same question. How did this happen? Then slowly, very slowly, something else replaced the shock. Not anger, not yet. Clarity. I placed the grocery bags down on the porch, carefully, like I still belonged there, because deep inside, I knew something didn't feel right. Yes, I signed papers, I whispered to myself, but I never gave away my home. I turned and walked down the driveway. Each step felt heavier than the last, but I didn't cry, not yet. Instead, I reached into my purse and pulled out my phone. My hands were shaking, but my mind was finally waking up. There was only one person I needed to call. Daniel Carter. Daniel Carter. My late husband's lawyer. A man who had handled every legal document for our family for over 20 years. A man who knew one very important thing. I never signed anything without him. The phone rang twice. Then, hello? Daniel, my voice cracked. It's Margaret. There was a pause, then warmth. Margaret, it's been a while. Are you all right? I looked back at the house, at the door that was no longer mine. No, I whispered. I think my daughter just stole my home. Silence. Then his voice changed, serious, sharp. Tell me everything. I explained everything. The papers, the signatures, the locked door. Emily's words. When I finished, there was a long pause. Then Daniel said something that made my heart start beating again. Margaret, I need you to listen carefully. You said she brought you papers? But did you ever come to my office? No, I replied. Did I ever witness your signature? No. Another pause. Then that transfer is very likely not legal. My breath caught. What do you mean? I asked. Property transfers, he said firmly, require proper legal witnessing, verification, and registration. If your daughter made you sign something without full disclosure, he continued, it could be considered fraud. Fraud. The word echoed in my mind. My own daughter. I closed my eyes. But she said the house is in her name, I whispered. Daniel's voice was calm, confident. Margaret, paperwork can say many things. But legality? That's a different story. For the first time since that door closed, I felt something shift inside me. Hope. What should I do? I asked. Don't go back inside, he said immediately. Come to my office. Bring any documents you have. And Margaret? Yes. If what you're telling me is true, they made one very big mistake. I swallowed. What mistake? And then he said it. The one thing Emily never thought about. The house, he paused, is still under your original title. My heart stopped. What? I never processed any transfer. Daniel continued. There's no official record filed through my office. And without proper registration, that house is still legally yours. The world suddenly felt different. The air, the ground beneath my feet, everything. I wasn't helpless. I wasn't homeless. I was being lied to. I picked up my grocery bags again, but this time, they didn't feel heavy. They felt like proof. Proof that I had walked out, but I could walk back in, legally. I'm coming now, I said firmly. As I ended the call, I looked at my house one last time. The curtains moved slightly. Emily was watching. But this time, I didn't feel weak. because she didn't know yet. The game she thought she had won had just begun. I didn't go home that night because I still had a home. I went straight to the office of Daniel Carter. By the time I arrived, the sun was already setting. The sky had that deep orange glow, the kind that makes everything feel heavier. Daniel was waiting for me at the door. No small talk, no smiles, just seriousness. "Come in," he said. I sat down across from him, placing my purse on the table like it carried the weight of my entire life. Because it did. "Show me everything you have," he said. I pulled out the folded papers Emily had given me months ago, the ones I signed without reading, the ones that were supposed to be routine. Daniel adjusted his glasses and began reading. Slowly, carefully. The room was silent, except for the sound of paper turning. 1 page, 2 pages, 3. Then suddenly, he stopped. His eyebrows tightened. "What is it?" I asked, my voice barely steady. He didn't answer immediately. He flipped the page back, read it again, then looked up at me. "Margaret," he said quietly, "these documents are very concerning." My heart dropped. "Concerning how?" I asked. He leaned forward, lowered his voice. "These are not standard legal documents. They're poorly drafted, inconsistent, and most importantly," he tapped the page, "your signature was not properly witnessed." I swallowed hard. "What does that mean?" "It means," he said firmly, "this transfer would not hold up in court." A breath I didn't realize I was holding finally escaped. "But," I whispered, "she changed the locks. She said it's hers." Daniel shook his head. No, those words echoed in my mind the entire drive back. "That house is still yours?" For hours, I had felt small, powerless, abandoned. But now, something inside me had changed. I wasn't going back as a victim. I was going back as the owner. Beside me sat Daniel Carter, calm and focused, holding a folder filled with documents that carried more power than any lock, and behind us, a police car followed, not loud, not dramatic, just present. We pulled up in front of the house. My house. The porch light was on. The same warm yellow glow I had chosen years ago because my husband said it made the home feel alive. Tonight, it felt like it was waiting for me. My hands trembled slightly as I stepped out of the car. But this time, it wasn't fear. It was something stronger. Justice. Daniel walked ahead and knocked firmly on the door. Once, twice. Then, movement inside. The curtain shifted, and slowly, the door opened. Emily stood there again. But this time, she wasn't calm. She saw the police. She saw Daniel. And then, she saw me. Her face changed instantly. "What's going on?" she asked, trying to sound confident. Daniel stepped forward. Professional. Direct. "Emily," he said, "I'm representing your mother." Her eyes flickered, just for a second. "We're here," he continued, "because you've unlawfully taken possession of a property that legally does not belong to you." Silence. Then, a small laugh, forced. "That's not true," Emily said quickly. "She signed everything. The house is mine." Daniel didn't move, didn't react. Instead, he calmly opened the folder. "These documents," he said, "are not legally valid. No proper witnessing. No official registration. No lawful transfer." Every word landed like a hammer. Emily's expression started to crack. "You're lying," she snapped. One of the officers stepped forward, calm but firm. "Ma'am," he said, "we've reviewed the situation. At this moment," he paused, "you are occupying this property without legal ownership." The silence that followed was heavy, real. For the first time, Emily looked scared. She looked at me. Really looked. Mom? Her voice softened. We can talk about this. That word, Mom. After everything, now she remembered. I felt something rise in my chest. Pain. Years of it. But I didn't step back. No, I said quietly. We should have talked before. Her eyes filled with tears. But I could see it now. Not regret. Fear. You don't understand, she said quickly. I needed this house. And I needed a daughter, I replied. The words hung in the air, unmovable, final. Daniel handed the officer a document. We're requesting immediate removal, he said. Emily's composure shattered. You can't do this to me, she cried. I'm your daughter. My heart broke, truly broke, but this time I didn't let it control me. You stopped being my responsibility, I said softly. The moment you chose to betray me. Tears streamed down her face, but the officers stepped forward. Ma'am, one of them said gently, we need you to gather your belongings. She looked around, at the house, at the walls, at everything she thought was hers, then back at me. And in that moment, she realized she had lost. Not just the house, but something far more important. She turned slowly and walked inside. The door remained open. For the first time that day, I stepped forward. Not as a guest, not as a stranger, but as the rightful owner. As I crossed the doorway, a wave of memories hit me. Laughter, birthdays, family dinners, love, and pain. But this time, I didn't feel broken. I felt strong. Because my daughter forgot one thing, not just the law, not just the paperwork, but something even more powerful. She forgot who I was. The house felt different that night, not because anything had changed, but because everything had. The walls were the same, the furniture untouched, the air familiar, but something was missing. Trust. I stood in the living room, slowly turning around, taking it all in. For years, this place had been filled with love. Now it held something else. Truth. Behind me, I could hear footsteps. Emily. She walked out carrying a suitcase. Not much, just the essentials. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then she looked at me. Not angry, not defensive, just empty. I'll go, she said quietly. I nodded, because there was nothing left to say. She walked past me, toward the door. The same door she had closed on me just hours before. But this time, she stopped. Her hand rested on the handle. Mom? She said softly. That word again. I didn't turn. I didn't think it would go this far, she continued. I just needed something stable? I closed my eyes. We all need something, I said, but we don't take it by breaking the people who gave us everything. Silence. I was going to tell you, she whispered. When? I asked. No answer, because we both knew that moment was never coming. She opened the door. Cold air rushed in, and with it, reality. Before stepping out, she turned one last time. I'm sorry, she said, and for the first time that day, I believed her. But something inside me had changed. Some things, I said quietly, don't go back to the way they were. A tear rolled down her cheek. Then she left. The door closed, and this time, I was the one inside, alone, but not broken. The days that followed were quiet, painfully quiet. No footsteps, no conversations, no tension, just silence. But slowly, that silence became peace. I cleaned the house, room by room, not just dust and clutter, but memories. Some I kept, some I let go, because healing means choosing what stays. A week later, I received a letter. No return address. But I knew who it was from. Inside was a short note. I don't expect forgiveness, but I hope one day you'll remember me before I became this person. Emily. I read it twice, then folded it carefully. Not in anger, not in sadness, but in acceptance. Because the truth was, I did remember her. The little girl who used to run into my arms. The one who called this house home long before she tried to take it. And maybe, somewhere deep inside, that girl still existed. 1 year later, the house is still mine, but it no longer feels heavy. It feels peaceful. I planted flowers in the front yard, bright ones. The kind Emily used to love as a child. Every morning, I water them. And sometimes, I think about her, not with anger, but with a quiet kind of hope. Because life has a way of teaching lessons, even the hardest ones. And as for me, I learned something too. Family is not just about blood. It's about trust, respect, truth. And when those things are broken, love alone is not enough to fix them. But strength? Strength can rebuild you. Because in the end, my daughter thought she took everything from me. My house, my security, my peace. But she forgot one thing, the most important thing. She forgot that I am stronger than her lies.